Okay, so in a bit, we're going to go out into the shop and we're going to take a look at in real life how to use these. But this is basically the 3D version of how to use the templates. Now, first of all, let's just disregard these sections right here because those are going to be used in a different scenario for router type, or for creating mortises with a router. So for basically what we're looking at is this version here, and that's on the 1" by 3" piece with a 90-degree cut. And then what we have here is a different angle at it. This is the riser, which has been cut at a 30-degree angle. And so you can see how this is going to start to pan out. Now I lost myself here, so I have to quick click on that, and that'll eventually, there it goes, it showed up. Okay, so basically what we're doing here is this. There's a, it says right here, for a 90-degree end grain cut, then you put a pin in here. Now by pin, what I'm referring to is the ideal method to do this is with a socket head, a 1/4" socket head type of bolt, and it can be like an inch, inch and a half, 2 inches long. And the reason for that is that when you see this in the actual template, you're going to see that there's a pocket right there. The outer pocket, the head of that pocket, the head of that bolt is going to slip down in there, and that's why it's below the surface. The inner, the red area, is the actual 1/4". Where it's not as critical on these, but it becomes really a lot more critical when we're using the router, because the router, the plate of the router is going to end up being is going to end up on the router plate would hit that hit the bolt head sticking up. So again, not as critical when we're not using a router. Here we're just using a dimple. We're making a dimple out of a hinge bit. So basically, again, you can see that's going to line up with that one edge of the board. Then we have another one here. You don't have to put that second one in, but it just kind of holds things. And especially if your board wasn't exactly 3 inches, like if it's 3 1/16 or something like that, you're going to be close enough by just putting the one in, and then you don't have to put the other in. But I tend to try to make my cuts as accurate as possible. Plus the jig itself is made out of PVC in most cases, so there's a little bit of flex on that. Then on the side, there's going to be a 1/4", typically plywood, that's going to go in there, like an MDF or whatever. I'll cover that in the shop itself, but it depends on how tight you want it to be. So that's going to go in there, and you can see that's going to line up along the side of the piece, of the workpiece. And so now our piece is in there nice and tight. And similar again on the diagonally cut one, the one that's cut at 30 degrees. But the difference here is that because of the angle right here, you're not going to be able to put a pin in there. It would obviously interfere with the wood. So all we're going to do is just use the one pin, and that will butt up right up to that sharp edge right there. It's going to be great. And then the sides, again, is what really holds it in place. So everything's the same on that. And then what that'll do is that'll place the 3 holes, the dimples, the holes that are in the template. They're going to place them right where we want that tenon to be. So the instructions are basically to install the threaded tenons on the end grain is place the riser on a vise, so that 1 by 3" riser or whatever it is that you're doing here, place that in some sort of vise or some sort of a way to hold it, usually facing up. That's the best way to do it. Gravity is in your favor on that. And then on this template, this is called template number 1, and because it's used for so many different things. So on template number 1, place a 1/4" plywood guides in there. So that's the plywood guides. On template number 1, place the 1/4" socket bolt or a dowel, and that's in there. Number 4 is slide the template over the top of the piece, the workpiece. Number 5 is use a 1/4" outside diameter hinge bit, which happens to be a 7/64 bit in most of the hinge bits. I'll cover that in the materials, but it's typically a 7/64 hinge bit that has about an outer diameter of a 1/4". It's not exactly, but it's close enough. Then what you're going to do is you're going to dimple all 3 holes in the wood. Then remove the jig number 6, and then after that, use an 1/8" drill bit to basically pre-drill these here. Now, if this is softwood like pine or something, you don't even have to do that, but it's still a good idea. I think that's what I end up doing. It's just better safe than sorry. We're not talking about a huge piece here. It wouldn't take much to split it. And then in the middle hole, though, we need the place for that bolt to go. There's going to be a bolt that's going to go in here when we're actually doing the joinery, and that bolt is going to go down into that thread of 1/4 inch thick. But if we didn't have a additional hole in the wood below it, then any excess bolt is going to basically get jammed in there. So then use a 3/8 inch bit. That, even though it's a 5/16 bolt, the best thing is to use a 3/8 inch bit. Then you got plenty of room. I just use a Craig bit, and that seems to work really well. It fits in the dimple real well, and you can just do that with a hand drill. Go down about maybe an inch, inch and a half, something like that. And then what you would do then is place the actual 3-hole tenon right over the top of all those holes. You're just going to manually do that. You'll see the holes down there. Then what you do is in one of the outer holes, so right in here for instance, you're going to place a GRK, and that's going to depend on, I'm calling for a number 8, a number 9, or a number 10, and that's going to depend on the species. So if you're in hard maple, then you're going to be fine with a number 8. If you're in like a oak, or like the boards that we're using here, which are from the stair treads, then you might want to go to a number 9. Depends on what you have available. If you're going to go into pine or cedar, then definitely go to a number 10. And then so just kind of use your own judgment there. Again, some of it will have to do whether you pre-drilled or not with that 1/8 inch bit. And again, the GRKs are self-drilling, they're self-tapping, so that helps a lot there as well. But so you're going to put one in there, and then you're going to use the driver to send it down, but don't send it all the way home. By all the way home, I mean tight. You know, we're gunk, 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 right on the impact driver. Don't send it home. You want to leave just a little bit so that that tenon can still move a little bit. And again, if you look at closely at the GRKs, you're going to see that they get a little fatter right underneath the head, and that fatness, that little larger diameter, will actually kind of help align these. But if you have the tenon on too tight, have that GRK in too tight, then the tenon's not going to be able to move like it should for the second hole. So then in number 9 it's insert and drive the same GRK into the second one. Again, don't send it home. Now then everything is close but not all the way home. Now you're going to confirm the alignment of the tenon, just make sure everything's in place, and then gradually send them on home. If you do that, then what you're going to end up with is a threaded tenon inside that looks kind of like that. Let me see if I can hide parts of that. Yep. Okay, so basically this is what it's going to look like inside there. You're going to have a GRK that comes down in, another GRK that comes in, and then this is that area of the hole that's going to be for the excess bolt. So there you go.